A U.S.-led coalition launched airstrikes on the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen in response to the shipping attacks in the Red Sea. For more on this, let's bring in Bridge Colby, a former Pentagon official in the Trump administration. He's also author of The Strategy of Denial, American Defense in an Age of Great Power Conflict. Bridge, it's good to see you. We were on a panel together with our friend Ro, who is out. I can start in Ro Khanna, Congressman. I can start with his comments this morning. He thinks that President Biden, and Ro's a Democrat, he thinks that President Biden needed to clear this with Congress. I see that every once in a while when a president does something. That wasn't going to happen, right?
Right. I think that was unlikely. It was great to be with you again. And no, Congressman Khanna's out early saying that the president and some Republicans like Senator Mike Lee from Utah saying that he needed a congressional authorization. But as you said, I think like pretty much most presidents in the modern era, President Biden has moved forward with what he thinks is the right course.
And do you think it was the right course? And we didn't have much choice.
Well, look, I think we're in a really bad situation here. We're getting sucked into a Middle East conflict. I mean, I think stepping back, you see geopolitical factors popping up all around the world, more than popping up, becoming worse in Europe, now in the Middle East. And, of course, there's the looming confrontation with China potentially in the Pacific. And we're not prepared for it. Our military is not capable of handling multiple theaters. The last thing we need is to get drawn into a Middle East conflict. And that's not just because we're tired of it, but because our military doesn't have the capacity. And unfortunately, I don't think the strikes last night are going to make a fundamental difference. The administration itself is already saying that they're anticipating a Houthi reaction and possibly escalation and a continuation of the strikes against shipping in the Red Sea. Then what do you think would be the proper course for us? So we don't have great options. We don't have great options. Look, I think that we have a set of bad options. The least bad options is to get local partners, like the Israelis, like the Saudis, who we frankly have kind of alienated over the last few years and are now in a pretty bad way, to take more responsibility for security. Our European partners, I mean, Europe is more exposed to what's going on in the Red Sea than the United States. We are as well, indirectly, given the shipping implications and inflation and so forth. But I think we really need to push this around. And this is fundamentally inconsistent with what I think President Biden and, frankly, some Republicans as well saying, look, we're the global policeman. We're everywhere. We're America. We can do everything. That's not the right attitude. And it's becoming more and more sort of glitches in the matrix are appearing here again. I mean, the idea of getting involved in a war in Yemen, in addition to our active involvement, although possibly quite a bit less, in Ukraine, the potential for something breaking out in the Korean Peninsula, and, of course, Taiwan. I think 2024 is going to have a lot more geopolitical intensity and possibly surprises, unfortunately. We've had people come on and say, yeah, there's some important elections coming up. And, God, I don't know how loudly or I don't know how to say it to where it really gives it enough import for people to sit up and take notice. But let's focus on Taiwan, which a lot of people have no idea what's happening. Can you handicap? I think there are three possible outcomes, and the most likely could be significant in that China really wouldn't like it and would leave it with only really military options at that point. I think that's right. I mean, basically, there's an election coming up over the weekend. The DPP is the ruling party, has been for 8 years, is traditionally leans towards independence. The candidate of that party, named William Lai, at least in English, is leading. There's a Kuomintang candidate who's not pro-PRC, but is considered a little less offensive from Beijing's point of view. There's a third-party candidate who isn't expected to do as well. The handicapped outcome is that Lai, the DPP candidate, will win the presidency, but the KMT might have, if not a majority, maybe a plurality or something in the legislative yuan, so split government. I think the key point for markets here is the election is a significant point, but fundamentally, it's very, very clear, the Journal was reporting this the other day, that there's no path for peaceful unification to China. Ma Ying-jeou, the former president of the KMT, was saying, we need to be nice to listen to Xi Jinping. That has no traction on Taiwan. So if you're in Beijing, you know that. You know there's no peaceful unification scenario. Xi Jinping has pledged to resolve this issue. And in addition, Xi Jinping and his leadership believe that the United States is trying to strangle them. So there's been a lot of attempt by the administration and by China to downplay the risk of confrontation over this decade. But China's acting in a way, don't look at what their lips are saying, look at what they're doing. They are preparing for confrontation, including economically. They are not changing economic course despite the economic headwinds they're facing. And that's a costly signal of what the future holds. And this year, you see the United States, by its own admission, administration officials admitting that they are too tied down in Europe, the Middle East, and with the re-election campaign. This is a very dangerous situation. We haven't even seen what might happen on the Korean Peninsula, where the leader there, North Korea's Kim Jong-un, has said, I'm giving up prospects of peaceful reunification, more or less. So it could be very bumpy. And, of course, if Lai is elected, Beijing has signaled that that's a potential predicate for much more forceful action. What that is, I can't say, but I think we buckle up.
So we'll know, in all likelihood, that is going to be the outcome. So this could start happening as early as next week. And you said, it's a non-zero probability that someday there is some type of armed conflict with China.
I'm not an investor, but I think if you are, I think it's hard to imagine getting out of the 2020s without either a major war or think of a Cuban Missile Crisis kind of crisis.
Yeah. Okay.
They're preparing for it. They have a timeline. They have a sense of urgency, and they're acting to prepare for it. Whether it happens this year, I don't know. That might be a little bit early, but there are a number of factors that could make that more attractive. And I think an invasion is what you would see. And here's the key point. They need to act with surprise or relative surprise, so people are not going to get a long runway of warning about it.